welcome. I hope that you're feeling good in your bodies and starting to regain some connection and strength in your core. In this video, we're going to progress just a little bit more. Really simple movements that pack a lot of punch, and you want to be sure that you feel comfortable with the things that we worked on prior to this before moving on to the next phase. So we're going to be on the ground a lot again for this one. So you're going to start lying down on your back. And if you're feeling pretty strong with the marches and then also with the leg extensions, now you're going to bring the knees over the hips. So if your hamstrings are feeling tight, it's fine to work with a little bend through the knees. Draw your ribs back. Take a nice breath in here. And as you exhale, lower your right leg towards the floor, just as much as you can control. So it might not be very far at first, and that's perfectly all right. And then keeping neutral pelvis, you're going to lift your right leg back to the sky. And then lowering your left leg. And again, just go as far as you can control it. Less really is more here for these. And you'll find that as you gain strength and control, you're going to be able to increase your range of motion. It's really the most important thing is being able to maintain that control, that neutral pelvis through a range of motion. And also feel the connection to the core. So, it is possible to do this just from the hip flexors. We do want the hip flexors to be strong, but we also want the core to be stabilizing your pelvis as you move your legs. So we'll do this. We'll say one more time to each side. You can work with pointed toes or flexed feet or something in between called floint. If you find that that adds extra tension, it's also perfectly all right to relax your toes. Okay, after one leg at a time, arms by your sides, and then you'll do both legs together. And again, just very small controlled range of motion. So the legs are heavier. Two legs together are about 40% of your body weight. So I find that, I can go for, right now, I can go to about here before I start to lose it. So I'm just going to work in that range of motion. And, it can be really easy to judge yourself. So I want you to think instead of really commending yourself, congratulating yourself for putting in the time and the effort to pull yourself together, quite literally. So drawing everything in and down, you can use your hands to help. And just one more time. Great, and then bend your knees and release. So another muscle that tends to become really weak is the glute med muscle. So it's more of the side seat muscle, the lateral hip. And these are really important stabilizer muscles, and we want to get them strong and back online for pelvic stability. When the pelvis can be stable, when we do this core work, then we're really targeting the right muscles. So that's one of the reasons that we're interested in that. So I'd like for you, if possible, to lie all the way up against a wall. So if you could just imagine that the shelf behind me was a wall, you're going to get all the way against it. Right, your bottom knee will be bent. You can either be propped up on your forearm or all the way down on your side. So even though you're all the way down on your side, you want to have a little bit of a lift to your weight line. So you don't want to just sag your waist into the floor. Right? You can also be kind of somewhere in between. And then you'll extend your top leg all the way long so that your leg is against the wall. And you want to keep your heel sliding against the wall as you lift and lower. And you don't need to lower all the way down, right? Just lower to about hip height. Lift higher than hip height, and then lower to hip height. And then pretty much right away, I can start to feel that engagement through the side seat, the glute med. Moving with your breath. You can even relax the foot. So do a few more here. And one more 8, and lower down and rest. So you can start with a set of 3 or 5 or 8. Build yourself up to maybe somewhere between 8 and 12. Build yourself up to 3 sets. And do that, repeatedly until you feel really strong. So same thing on the other side. A little bit of a lift through the waistline, sliding your heel against the wall, if you have one. If you're not against the wall, this is effective too. You just want to make sure that your foot doesn't start to creep forward, right? It's going to target a different muscle if the leg goes forward. It's about 4 more on this side. And last one. And again, I'm just doing one set for time's sake, but it's really, nice thing to do several sets. Then to close, we're going to come to the hands and knees. And separate your knees hips distance apart. Push your knees apart so you're getting that connection to the side seat muscles. And then lift your bottom ribs away from the floor. Press into your hands. And then just extend the right leg out. And the left arm forward. And breathing here. I know this seems really simple, but it requires a lot of connection to the core. And also you're engaging through the glutes, which is good. It's really good for the pelvic floor. And then lower down, and then second side. So you do, 5 to 8 breaths on each side. And then lower down. Now, as you exhale, pull the belly in and up, pull the rib cage in and up, and then hover your knees above the floor. And then lower down. And as you're lifting your knees up, just notice if you're leading with your bottom, right? You want to lead essentially with your core, that the midsection is lifting up, and that's why the knees hover. And lower. And exhale, push the floor away, lift your midsection up, hover the knees. And lower. And one more time, exhale, lift. Now we're going to go for a little walk. Your left hand and your right foot will go forward. So going for a little walk, try to stay stable. So another good trick for this is actually if you have like a big book or a yoga block, you can even use a blanket and place that right at your back. That'll let you know how stable you're staying through your core as you go forward and back. I know it looks kind of silly, but it's kind of fun and it's surprisingly challenging. And going back and forth on your mat, your carpet, or your floor a few times, and then resting in child's pose. So I hope that gets you feeling a little bit stronger, a little bit more connection to the core. Remember to check your separation every several weeks. And, feel free to comment, leave me a question, and good luck. See you next time. Namaste.